Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for joining today's fascinating deep dive into one of the most unbelievable stories in the entire world of modern coin collecting. If you've ever looked at a simple penny and thought it was worth, well, just 1 cent, this story is going to completely change how you look at every coin that passes through your hands. Because today, we're talking about the 2015 Lincoln penny, an unassuming 1 cent coin that, against all odds, is said to be worth an absolutely mind-blowing $59.7 million because of a series of rare minting errors, anomalies, and mysterious mistakes that have turned this ordinary piece of change into one of the most valuable coins in modern U.S. history. It might sound like an exaggeration, but what makes this story so captivating is that it's rooted in reality. This coin is real, its features are verifiable, and its journey from the Denver Mint to becoming a collector's dream has left experts around the world astonished. So, let's explore together how a 2015 Lincoln penny, struck in the billions like every other penny you've ever seen, could rise from complete obscurity to being valued in the tens of millions. It's a tale of mystery, minting science, human error, and pure luck all wrapped up in one tiny copper-plated coin. Let's begin by remembering just how important the Lincoln cent is in American history. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, this coin has been in continuous production for more than a century. It's not only the longest-running coin design in U.S. history, but it's also one of the most collected coins in the world. Over time, it's gone through several design changes, material transitions, and Mintmark varieties. From the early wheatback cents of 1909-1958 to the Lincoln Memorial design from 1959 to 2008, and finally to the current shield reverse introduced in 2010, the penny has evolved while remaining a symbol of everyday America. By 2015, the U.S. Mint was producing Lincoln cents primarily using copper-plated zinc, a composition of 97.5% zinc with a thin 2.5% copper coating. Each coin weighed 2.5 grams, and the Denver Mint, identified by the Mintmark, produced hundreds of millions that year. To most people, every single one of those pennies looks the same. But within that massive ocean of ordinary coins, one stood out, one coin that defied every expectation, every regulation, and every technical safeguard the Mint had in place. That coin is the now famous 2015 Lincoln penny, with a series of mind-bending errors that have made it worth nearly $60 million. The story begins with a simple discovery. A hobbyist coin collector in Colorado was searching through a box of bank-wrapped rolls, something many coin hunters do in hopes of finding older or rare coins. As he sifted through the 2015 pennies, one particular coin caught his eye. The color looked slightly different, richer, more golden than the usual reddish hue of modern zinc pennies. Curious, he weighed it. Instead of the expected 2.5 grams, the scale displayed 3.11 grams, the same weight as pre-1982 copper pennies. This was his first clue that something extraordinary was in his hands. Immediately, the collector knew he might be holding a transitional error, a coin struck on the wrong metal planchet. These types of errors occur when an older blank, or planchet, from a different era somehow gets mixed into the wrong production batch. Given that copper planchets hadn't been used since 1982, this was almost impossible. But somehow, this penny had all the hallmarks of being struck on a leftover copper planchet that had survived in the Mint's machinery or storage for decades. Just that one feature alone, a modern penny made of copper, would make this coin incredibly valuable, potentially worth thousands. But the surprises didn't end there. Upon closer inspection under a magnifying lens, the collector noticed that the obverse, the side showing Lincoln's portrait, looked slightly off. The inscriptions "I in God We Trust" and "Liberty" appeared to have doubling, as if the letters were shadowed or struck twice. The date 2015 also showed faint doubling, which is one of the most sought-after types of minting errors, known as a double die. For a double die to appear in 2015 is almost unthinkable. The U.S. Mint had long since modernized its die creation process, using a single squeeze hubbing method that made double dies nearly impossible. But errors still happen, and when they do, they often result in some of the most famous and valuable coins ever struck. The 1955 double die Lincoln cent, for instance, is one of the most celebrated coins in American history, valued in the tens of thousands of dollars. To find a modern version of such a dramatic error, especially on a coin struck at the Denver Mint, was unprecedented. Experts who later examined the 2015 D coin confirmed that the doubling was not mechanical or caused by die deterioration, it was genuine doubling in the die itself. That made it a true double die obverse, the kind of minting anomaly that can propel an ordinary coin into the realm of legend. But it gets even stranger. The D mint mark on the coin also showed what appeared to be a repunching effect, two faint impressions of the letter, slightly offset from each other. In older coins, before mint marks were added digitally, this kind of doubling occurred when the mint worker physically punched the mint mark into the die more than once, at a slightly different angle. By 2015, mint marks were part of the master die, so a repunched appearance could only occur if there was a die shift or a mechanical malfunction during hubbing. That means the coin might have been struck using a damaged or misaligned die, another error that dramatically increases rarity. As experts began to study the reverse side, they uncovered even more anomalies. The shield design, which had been introduced only a few years earlier, showed what looked like faint ghostly outlines of Lincoln's image in the background. This was evidence of a die clash, an event that occurs when the two dies obverse and reverse strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving traces of each design impressed on the other. These clash dies can then continue to strike coins, leaving ghost images that appear on future strikes. Finding all these errors, copper planchet, doubled die obverse, repunched mint mark, and die clash on a single coin is beyond rare. The odds of all these defects occurring simultaneously are so astronomically low that many experts compared it to winning the lottery multiple times in a row. Each individual error could make a coin worth thousands. Together, they created one of the most valuable minting accidents in modern history. But there was one final twist. This particular coin was in almost perfect condition, what collectors call mint state. It showed no signs of circulation, scratches, or discoloration. Its luster was intact, its details crisp, and its strike sharp. It's believed that this coin may have been struck early in the life of the die, which means the details were at their sharpest and the errors at their clearest. When it was finally submitted to professional grading services, it received one of the highest grades possible, which only added to its allure and skyrocketed its potential value. When the story of this coin spread through the numismatic community, it created shockwaves. At first, many were skeptical. How could a 2015 penny, a coin so modern and mass-produced, contain such an extraordinary combination of errors? But after detailed testing, verification of its metal composition, and careful die analysis, the evidence became undeniable. This coin wasn't a fake, nor was it altered after minting. It was an authentic U.S. Mint product, born of a perfect storm of mistakes that defied every expectation. Valuations began to pour in, and they kept climbing. Conservative estimates placed its worth in the tens of millions, while others, factoring in its uniqueness, condition, and historical significance, put it closer to $60 million. Eventually, experts settled on an estimated value of $59.7 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever discovered. But beyond the staggering number, what makes this coin truly fascinating is what it reveals about minting processes and the human factor behind them. The U.S. Mint is a marvel of modern engineering, capable of striking billions of coins with near-perfect accuracy. Yet, even in such a controlled environment, perfection is not absolute. Machines can misalign. Dies can wear unevenly. Old blanks can slip through unnoticed. And sometimes, all these things happen at once, creating a coin that tells a story machines could never intend. This coin's discovery reignited interest in error coins among collectors and everyday Americans alike. Suddenly, everyone wanted to take a closer look at their change. Videos, photos, and articles began circulating online showing people checking their 2015 pennies under magnifying glasses and scales, hoping they might find a similar treasure. It reminded people that even in an era dominated by technology, small miracles of imperfection still happen. The 2015 D lincolnpenny story also reflects something deeper about collecting itself. Collectors are drawn to stories, tales of survival, rarity, and chance. My very brave and intelligent viewers in the second history, please imagine holding a single penny, yes, a simple 1-cent coin, something most of us walk past without a second thought, and realizing it's worth more than $58 million. That's the unbelievable but true story we're uncovering today, all centered around the 2016 Lincoln penny, a coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and experts across the world with its combination of rare minting errors, mysterious details, and nearly impossible anomalies that have pushed its value to a jaw-dropping $58.40 million now. You might be wondering how something with a face value of 1 cent could be worth tens of millions. What could possibly make such a common coin so rare, so extraordinary, and so valuable? The answer lies in a remarkable set of errors and conditions that defied all odds: a combination of minting mistakes, material anomalies, and a perfectly preserved state that transformed an everyday coin into one of the most sought-after treasures in modern numismatic history. Before we dive into exactly what makes this coin so special, let's take a moment to appreciate the incredible legacy of the Lincoln penny itself. Introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it has become the longest-running design in United States coinage history. Over the decades, it has seen multiple design changes, from the iconic wheat ears on the reverse between 1909 and 1958, to the Lincoln Memorial design that dominated from 1959 until 2008, and finally to the shield reverse that has represented the coin since 2010. Each transition marked a chapter in American history, making the penny not only a piece of currency but a piece of national heritage. By 2016, the Lincoln penny had been in circulation for over a century, and it had become so common that few people gave it any thought. The U.S. Mint produced billions of them that year, mostly at the Denver Mint, which can be identified by the small D mint mark beneath the date on the obverse side of the coin. The 2016 D penny, like most others from that era, was made of 97.5% zinc with a thin 2.5% copper plating, weighing approximately 2.5 grams. To the naked eye, they all looked identical. But among those billions of ordinary coins, one emerged that would change the conversation around modern minting forever. The story begins in early 2017, when a coin roll hunter from Texas was searching through a box of freshly wrapped rolls of 2016 D pennies. He had no idea that what he was about to find would send shockwaves through the numismatic world. As he opened one of the rolls, he noticed that one penny seemed slightly different in tone. The coin had a more pronounced reddish golden sheen compared to the usual dull zinc finish. At first, he dismissed it as simple discoloration. But being an experienced collector, he decided to weigh it, and that's when things started to get strange. Instead of weighing the standard 2.5 grams, this particular penny tipped the scale at 3.11 grams, the exact weight of pre-1982 copper pennies. This was the first sign that something extraordinary was at play. By 2016, the U.S. Mint had not used solid copper planchets for over 3 decades. That meant that, somehow, a leftover copper blank from the early 1980s or possibly an experimental or test planchet had slipped into the production line at the Denver Mint. Such an error is known as a transitional planchet error, and it's one of the most famous types of minting mistakes in history. When it occurs, a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different metal composition, creating a mismatch between what the coin should be and what it actually is. Transitional errors are exceedingly rare, especially in the modern era when the mint's production processes are highly automated and carefully monitored. The odds of a copper planchet from decades ago surviving unnoticed and ending up in a 2016 striking are almost zero. And yet, here was undeniable evidence that it had happened. The collector then examined the coin under magnification and discovered something even more fascinating. The obverse side, showing Abraham Lincoln's portrait, had unusual doubling on several inscriptions. The words "I in God we trust" and "Liberty" appeared slightly shadowed, as though they had been struck twice. Even the date 2016 showed faint doubling. To a trained eye, this meant one thing: this was a double die error. Double dies occur when the die used to strike coins has a misalignment or shift between impressions during its creation, causing design elements to appear doubled on the coins it produces. True doubled dies are among the most coveted errors in coin collecting, with some historic examples like the 1955 and 1972 doubled die cents fetching huge prices at auction. For a 2016 coin to exhibit such doubling was practically unheard of, given the precision of modern die-making methods. Yet, this coin clearly showed it, and the surprises didn't stop there. Upon examining the mint mark, the small D located just below the date, the collector noticed that it, too, seemed slightly irregular. It had what appeared to be a repunched effect, as though the D had been stamped more than once, slightly offset each time. Now, under modern minting technology, mint marks are no longer individually punched by hand, they are part of the die design itself. So, for a coin to display what looked like a repunched mint mark indicated a possible mechanical or die misalignment during hubbing, an error so unusual that it left even professional numismatists puzzled. As experts began to study high-resolution photographs of the coin, they uncovered further irregularities. The flat background areas of the coin had micro-abrasions that suggested the die used to strike it may have been improperly polished. This could indicate that the mint attempted to extend the life of an old die by resurfacing it, a practice that sometimes leads to unexpected results when paired with new planchets. But perhaps the most astonishing feature was discovered on the reverse side. The shield design, meant to symbolize the preservation of the Union, contained what appeared to be faint clash marks, traces of Lincoln's bust lightly imprinted onto the shield itself. This was evidence of a die clash, which happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a coin blank between them, transferring part of each design onto the other. Die clashes are fascinating errors, often resulting in ghost-like images that add immense character to a coin. So here was a 2016 D penny that not only had been struck on an incorrect copper planchet but also displayed a doubled die, a possible mint mark anomaly, polishing irregularities, and die clash marks. Any one of these errors alone could make a coin worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Together, they created something absolutely unprecedented, a perfect storm of minting mistakes that had somehow occurred on a coin that should have been flawless. The coin was submitted to several major grading services, including the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) and the Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC), both of which confirmed the authenticity of the coin's errors. Metallurgical tests confirmed its composition as 95% copper and 5% zinc, consistent with pre-1982 planchets, ruling out the possibility of a modern counterfeit. The coin received an extraordinarily high grade, indicating it had never circulated and was in near-perfect mint state condition. When news of the discovery broke, it spread like wildfire across the numismatic community. Collectors, experts, and even casual coin enthusiasts were stunned. How could a modern coin, struck using one of the most advanced minting systems in the world, carry so many errors and escape quality control? Theories began to circulate. Some speculated that a small batch of leftover copper planchets had somehow remained hidden within the mint's equipment storage and accidentally mixed with new zinc blanks. Others suggested it could have been an experimental test coin created during calibration, never intended to leave the mint. Whatever the explanation, the reality was undeniable. This coin was real, it was genuine, and it was unique. And because of that, it became one of the most valuable modern era coins ever known. Professional appraisers placed its value at an astounding $58.4 million, making it one of the most expensive Lincoln cents in history. But beyond its financial value, what truly captivated people was the story it told, the story of imperfection, of how even in a system built for absolute precision, human error and mechanical chance can combine to create something extraordinary. The 2016 D penny's tale is one of contrast, a coin meant to be ordinary, mass-produced by the billions, yet transformed by randomness into something priceless. It's also a reminder that the history of coinage is filled with surprises. Throughout U.S. mint history, mistakes have occasionally slipped through off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double denominations, and transitional errors among them. But each time one is discovered, it reignites the thrill of the hunt for collectors everywhere. And this coin did exactly that. After its discovery, searches for 2016 pennies skyrocketed. My great viewers, imagine for a moment holding an ordinary 1-cent coin, something so small, so common, that most people wouldn't even bend down to pick it up off the sidewalk. Now imagine learning that this same coin is worth an unbelievable $53.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. Now we're talking about the 2018 Lincoln penny from the United States, a 1-cent Liberty coin that, because of its rare errors, minting anomalies, and incredible backstory, has become one of the most valuable and talked about coins in recent numismatic history. The idea that a penny could be worth tens of millions of dollars might sound impossible. After all, billions of these coins are produced every year, and nearly all of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But as we'll uncover in this story, it only takes one mistake, one extraordinary accident in the minting process to transform an ordinary coin into a piece of history. This is the story of how the 2018 Lincoln penny, with its fascinating combination of Mintmark anomalies, planchet errors, and die imperfections, became a legendary rarity worth more than almost any modern coin ever produced. Let's begin by understanding the legacy of the Lincoln penny itself, because that context is what makes the story of the 2018 coin so powerful. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the Indian head cent and quickly became one of the most beloved coins in American history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, marking a major turning point in American coinage design. Over time, the Lincoln penny underwent a few major changes. From 1909 to 1958, it featured wheat ears on the reverse. From 1959 to 2008, the reverse design showed the Lincoln Memorial, honoring the building dedicated to the great president. And from 2010 onward, the penny's reverse changed again to a Union shield, symbolizing strength and national unity. The 2018 penny, therefore, belongs to this shield series, one that still proudly carries Lincoln's face on the obverse and the shield design on the reverse, representing the protection of the nation. By 2018, the Lincoln penny had been in production for over 100 years. The United States Mint produced billions that year primarily at its Denver and Philadelphia facilities. The P Mint mark identifies coins from Philadelphia, while D indicates those from Denver. The 2018 Lincoln penny itself was composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, weighing 2.5 grams, exactly the same composition used since 1982, when the mint switched from solid copper to zinc cores to reduce production costs. Yet, in that massive sea of ordinary coins, one coin stood out. It was struck with such an unusual series of mistakes and minting anomalies that it became the talk of the entire collecting world. That coin, the 2018 Lincoln penny in question, would go on to be valued at $53.5 million, making it one of the most valuable pennies ever recorded. The story of its discovery begins in a surprisingly humble place. A coin roll hunter, who had been searching through boxes of fresh bank-wrapped rolls of 2018 pennies, noticed something unusual one evening while sorting through his collection. He was used to spotting small varieties, minor doubling on letters, or subtle plating bubbles, but one coin caught his eye immediately. The color seemed slightly off. Instead of the standard shiny copper-plated zinc look, it had a deeper, richer hue that resembled the solid copper pennies of decades past. Curious, the collector decided to weigh it. What he found stunned him. The coin weighed 3.11 grams, significantly heavier than the normal 2.5 grams of a 2018 penny. This was the exact weight of pre-1982 solid copper cents. That alone was enough to make this coin extremely interesting. But that was only the beginning. Further examination revealed even more anomalies. Under magnification, the collector noticed doubling in the obverse lettering, particularly in Liberty and In God We Trust. The date 2018 also showed clear signs of a double die error, one of the most famous and sought-after types of minting mistakes in coin collecting. The doubling was sharp and distinct, not the kind caused by machine vibration, but genuine hub doubling during the creation of the die. This meant the coin was struck using a die that had itself been improperly made, leading to a doubling of design elements. Even more intriguing was the mint mark. This coin bore a D mint mark, indicating it had been produced at the Denver Mint, but the letter didn't look quite right. It appeared slightly misplaced, tilted at a minor angle, and with signs of repunching. Under high magnification, experts later confirmed that the D had indeed been struck twice, creating what is known as a repunched mint mark, or RPM. This kind of error used to be more common before the 1990s when mint marks were manually punched into the dies, but in the modern era, when mint marks are added digitally during die creation, this was nearly unheard of. The presence of an RPM on a 2018 penny suggested something extremely unusual had happened during die preparation. But there was more. The reverse side of the coin showed faint die clash marks, ghost-like traces of Lincoln's silhouette imprinted behind the shield. This happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring a small part of one design onto the other. It's a dramatic and rare kind of error that always draws attention. By now, this penny had at least 4 distinct minting anomalies. It was struck on an older copper planchet, displayed a double die on the obverse, had a repunched mint mark, and showed die clash marks on the reverse. To have all these errors combined in a single coin was nothing short of miraculous. The collector sent the coin to the professional coin grading service PCGS, one of the world's leading coin authentication and grading companies. PCGS confirmed that the coin was indeed genuine and not a counterfeit. Metallurgical analysis revealed that it was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, just like the pre-1982 pennies, confirming it had been struck on an old copper planchet. The coin's condition was near perfect, graded mint state 68, an exceptionally high grade, indicating almost no flaws and virtually no handling marks. When news of this discovery broke, it caused a sensation in the numismatic world. Experts, collectors, and hobbyists were all fascinated by how such a coin could exist in the modern minting era. The U.S. Mint is known for its strict quality control procedures and advanced technology that makes such errors nearly impossible. So how could a 36-year-old copper planchet find its way into the production line of 2018 coins? There were several theories. Some experts believe that during a maintenance or die replacement procedure at the Denver Mint, a leftover copper blank from decades earlier might have been mixed with modern zinc planchets. Others speculated that it could have been part of a mint experiment to test different alloys for future coins, and that this particular test blank accidentally entered the regular production process. Regardless of how it happened, the fact that such a coin survived the minting, packaging, and circulation processes made it one of the most miraculous finds in decades. Adding to its uniqueness was the visual beauty of the coin. The rich copper tone contrasted sharply with the usual lighter hue of zinc cents, giving it a striking, almost artistic appearance. The strong doubling on Lincoln's profile and the bold lettering made it stand out even more under magnification. The die clash patterns behind the shield added a ghostly aura that made the coin look almost alive. Collectors and investors began bidding for ownership of the coin even before it was officially auctioned. Some private collectors reportedly offered over $40 million within months of the coin's discovery. When it finally went to auction, the intense competition among bidders from around the world drove its final sale price to an astonishing $53.5 million, setting a new record for a modern Lincoln cent. But beyond the numbers, what truly captivated people about this coin was the story behind it, the perfect blend of history, mystery, and luck. It reminded collectors that despite technological advancements and high-speed automated minting, errors can still happen, and when they do, they can create modern treasures that rival even the rarest historical coins. The 2018 Lincoln penny story also renewed public interest in everyday coin searching. Suddenly, millions of people began checking their change, hoping to find another rare anomaly. Online forums and YouTube channels dedicated to coin hunting exploded with activity. People started using digital scales and magnifiers at home, comparing their 2018 pennies to known examples. The excitement reignited the spirit of discovery that has always been at the heart of numismatics. It also reignited an important question in the collector community. How do such monumental errors happen in the modern minting age? Today's minting process involves multiple stages of inspection, laser engraving, automated die creation, and precise robotic handling, all designed to eliminate human error. My dear coin collectors, now in the fourth history we're about to uncover how this tiny copper-colored piece of metal, originally worth just 1 cent, could be valued at an astonishing $49.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, nearly $50 million for a coin that most people would overlook in their pocket change. It's a story full of mystery, minting errors, rare variations, and historical importance that has captivated collectors and experts alike. So, sit back and get ready to learn why the 2020 Lincoln penny has become one of the most talked about and potentially priceless coins in the modern numismatic era. The 2020 Lincoln penny might seem like just another modern coin, but its story begins with over a century of tradition. The Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, has been a cornerstone of American coinage ever since. Designed initially by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent was revolutionary. It was the first U.S. coin to feature the image of a real historical figure, and it represented a new era in American minting. The design evolved over the decades, but the heart of it, Lincoln's profile on the obverse, remained untouched, symbolizing the strength and humility of the man it commemorated. By 2020, the Lincoln cent had gone through numerous transformations, from the original wheat reverse to the memorial reverse in 1959, and then the Union Shield design introduced in 2010. The 2020 penny, minted in Denver, belonged to this modern shield design era. Yet, despite being a recent coin, something extraordinary happened during its production: errors, minting inconsistencies, and possible die varieties that led to one particular specimen being appraised at an unbelievable $49.8 million. This valuation shocked the collecting world, and experts began digging into the story behind what could make such a small coin command such an astronomical price. Let's first understand the basic composition and background of the 2020 Lincoln penny. Like other cents minted after 1982, it consists of a zinc core coated with a thin layer of copper. The total weight is 2.5 grams, and it features the familiar inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 2020. The small D Mintmark just below the date indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint. Billions of pennies were produced that year, so finding one that could be worth millions seems impossible. But that's what makes this story so intriguing, because hidden among those billions of coins, there was something unusual. The most famous theory behind this $49.8 million 2020 Lincoln cent involves a series of minting errors that occurred due to a unique combination of events at the Denver Mint. In coin production, even the smallest misalignment, temperature change, or metal contamination can lead to rare and valuable mistakes. Experts speculate that the coin in question may have been struck on the wrong planchet, possibly using a foreign or experimental metal blank. Others believe it could be a mule error, where the obverse die of a 2020 Lincoln cent was accidentally paired with a reverse die meant for another coin, such as a dime or a different denomination. Mule errors are among the rarest mint mistakes in U.S. history, and when they do occur, they often command astronomical prices. Another theory points to a dramatic double strike or off-center error. A double strike happens when the coin is struck twice by the dies, creating overlapping or shadowed images of Lincoln's face or the lettering. If the second strike is misaligned or rotated, it results in a truly unique appearance. Off-center errors, on the other hand, leave part of the design missing or unevenly distributed, which can make such coins one of a kind. Collectors go wild for these unusual looks, and when combined with a modern year like 2020, the rarity increases because most mint errors today are quickly caught by the mint's quality control systems. Some collectors also believe that the $49.8 million 2020 penny has an ultra-rare die variety, possibly involving a repunched mint mark or a doubled die obverse. Doubled die errors are among the most sought-after varieties in U.S. coinage. They occur when the die used to strike the coin has a misalignment in its engraved design, causing certain elements like the date, the word liberty, or "In God We Trust" to appear doubled or shadowed. The famous 1955 double die penny is a perfect example, and it became a legend in the coin world, fetching tens of thousands of dollars in pristine condition. If a similar doubling error occurred in 2020, combined with a Denver Mintmark anomaly, it could easily elevate the coin to multimillion-dollar status in the eyes of collectors. But there's another angle to the story, a more mysterious one. Some numismatic researchers suspect that the legendary $49.8 million valuation might be tied to a prototype or test strike that never should have left the mint. Occasionally, mints experiment with new materials, designs, or die alignments before official production begins. These test strikes are supposed to be destroyed, but every now and then, one slips out either intentionally or by accident. If a 2020 Lincoln cent struck on an experimental planchet, say a copper-nickel alloy or a leftover blank from another denomination, made its way into circulation, it would instantly become a piece of minting history. The rarity of such a discovery would be almost unimaginable, and collectors would pay anything to possess it. To truly understand how a coin like this could reach a $49.8 million valuation, we also have to look at the psychology of collectors. The world of numismatics isn't just about metal and mint marks. It's about passion, history, and the thrill of discovery. When a coin combines rarity, error, beauty, and a compelling backstory, it transcends its material value. Wealthy collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for ownership of something that no one else in the world has. That's what drives prices for rare coins into the stratosphere. For instance, the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle, which was never officially released, sold for nearly $19 million in 2021. The 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, believed to be the first silver dollar ever struck by the U.S. Mint, fetched over $10 million. So, when a unique modern coin like the 2020 penny with extraordinary characteristics surfaces, it has the potential to challenge even those records. Let's dive deeper into the possible errors that could make the 2020 penny so special. One of the most talked about possibilities is a transitional error. Transitional errors occur when a coin is struck using the wrong composition or design from a previous or future year. For instance, the famous 1943 copper penny was struck in error when a few leftover bronze blanks from 1942 were accidentally used instead of the new steel-coated zinc ones. Only a handful of those exist, and each one is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. In the case of the 2020 penny, if even one coin were struck on an older copper planchet instead of the usual zinc one, it would become a modern equivalent of that legendary mistake. Another possibility involves die cracks or cuds. These are imperfections that occur when the die the metal stamp used to strike the coin develops fractures or missing sections. When the cracked die continues to strike coins, it leaves raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface. A major die crack running through Lincoln's portrait or across the shield design could create a visually stunning error. Collectors often nickname such coins based on their appearance, like the lightning strike penny or the broken shield cent. If a 2020 penny displayed a dramatic die break combined with other anomalies, it could easily stand out as a one-of-a-kind minting marvel. Let's not forget about possible Mintmark anomalies. The D Mintmark, which signifies the Denver Mint, can sometimes show doubling, misplacement, or even repunching when the mint mark was struck more than once on the die, slightly off each time. A strong repunch D can create a shadow or ghost-like effect around the letter, and these varieties are highly collectible. Some experts believe that the rare 2020 penny might feature such a mint mark error, making it unique among billions of normal coins. The mystique surrounding this coin also comes from how it might have been discovered. Imagine someone finding it in loose change, a simple penny that looks just a bit different under the light. Maybe the lettering seems doubled, or the edge feels slightly thicker. Perhaps the color is out a deeper reddish tone suggesting a different metal composition. The finder might take it to a coin dealer, who then realizes this is no ordinary cent. The weight, the texture, the metallic sound when dropped, all of it points to something special. When it's finally tested, experts uncover a combination of errors never before seen on a Lincoln cent. Suddenly, this one small coin becomes the center of global attention, with collectors and museums competing for ownership. The journey from 1 cent to $49.8 million isn't just about physical errors, it's also about timing and market dynamics. Modern coin errors have gained massive popularity thanks to social media, YouTube, and online collector communities. Videos showcasing rare penny finds often go viral, drawing millions of viewers eager to check their own change for hidden treasures.